Well, there's a linear nature of a lot of the foodie content I see.
Yes, 100%.
And so I think that speaks to the audience and the expectation of, I want to do it. Therefore, it's easier to consume when it's like A to B, or sorry, A to B, A to Z.
Yeah.
Like this is almost like reading an ingredient,
Yeah,
a recipe.
Kind of like checking
like a
the
recipe.
list off, right? You move
First,
down the list.
then, and then finish with kind of beginning, middle, end. It's easy to follow. It's a nice structure. But like, do you ever dip out of that? And for what reasons?
Sometimes I do. There's a couple cocktails I edited recently where like I didn't even show all the ingredients that went into it. Like I just took the banger clips from that and the stuff that made the most sense and wouldn't deter the engagement from the audience. Like one of them was Tyler's putting this blue spirulina powder into the tin, and it just looked so clunky. The shot just didn't look good, and we tried it a bunch of different ways, like sprinkling it, just none of them looked good. So in the video, in the edit, I actually just cut that part out, and that was one. Those are certain occasions where I'll like omit parts of the steps, and then other times I'll deviate is adding additional layers to like the intro or outro of the video to show off like establishing shots. Or there's a really cool one we did with EP Bar where I did like this gimbal push.
I know that.
It was a really cool
that was
idea
fire.
that I had to like showcase the space. So that's not necessarily indicative of the cocktail, but it showed like if you're a guest walking into this place, like
it's a wide shot. It's an establishing shot, like you said.
The vibe a little bit,
I love the oneers in a lot of the Scorsese films where like, and I saw one interview where he said why he does it. It's like the oneer shot that is sort of it's a nonverbal way of adding information about your character, your main character. So it's like, I forgot which movie it is. Y'all gonna hate me, but he's bringing in his date to this restaurant, like Italian mob type movie, right?
Yeah.
But he doesn't go in the front door. He goes in the back door.
Yeah.
And it shows you all kinds of relationships and how people. So like most of the frame is other people and their eyes and the sounds and like tables and roles and people, right? And so what we're learning is actually his status amongst a larger group of people, and he's also like bringing a date to experience that. That's giving him. Someone brings out a table for him right at the end of this long oneer. You know what I mean? So it's like,
I feel like I'm seeing it in my head.
Yeah,
is that Goodfellas with Ray Liotta?
Yeah, it's Ray Liotta. It's Ray Liotta.
Is that the one with?
But yeah, y'all gonna fact check this. It's all right. It's all right. You know,
help us out.
I say that because when I remember seeing that one that you're talking about, where I was like, oh, we're starting new information. New setting, right? Everything that's happening here is dope. Everything that's happening right here is dope.
That's crazy.
But then now we're getting all of it, and it's just a natural like leaning in kind of shot.
Yeah.
You know when you're like leaning in, you're drawing your audience in with literally moving the camera closer to your subject. So that whole the camera movement, but also just the visual information that at the start and end of this clip, the start of the clip, you could say like percentage of main subject is like 5%, 95% is environment. Yeah. At the end of the clip, maybe it's opposite. 95% is your subject, 5% is the environment. But giving us that whole journey through that's a powerful oneer. That's what I think draws people in.
Yeah.
And you can do it at any scale. So if you're doing something about ice, the wide shot could be the top of the cooler and you go in closer type of thing. So just when I say that because when I'm editing, which I do too much of, but like I got so ruthless with it, like ruthless in terms of I just stick to something and like I try not to overthink. Mm-hmm. And one way that makes me kind of breeze through edits a lot is when I just think about scale. So when you're saying like I'm gonna skip the sprinkle shot, right? So I'm thinking, I make decisions like that where I'm like, okay, fuck this shot. You know, it's not working. What am I doing next? That decision there, sometimes I'm like, instead of spending a lot of time on this, let me just think about like scale, for example. Where am I in most basic terms, wide, medium, close? Where am I? Mm-hmm. If I am trying to find the next clip after a close, I can just skip to a wide.
Yeah.
It might not have to be the continuity of like, I'm opening the pack and then I'm pouring the pack.
Yeah. Sometimes
you know what I mean?
I think that's a common mistake made especially in the beginning for a lot of people is like, you feel like you need to do A, B, C, D. You got to show all of it.
And even if you do show A, B, C, D, it could be tight A, wide B,
Yep.
medium C, tight A, or D. Like just going between those compositions is enough to keep the story going, keep it moving,
Yep.
keep it moving.
Yep. Keep the flow
Just keep it moving
and keeping your audience engaged to what's going on.
You know what? I'm thinking about like how to explain that because my daughter's more interested now in editing. She'd be like, "What are you doing?" And then I'll be like, "Okay, give her a simple task. Press this button when I say like
cut there."
So I'm thinking about like how to get all this stuff in my head out, which is like that's one way I thought of just scale. I'm changing close, tight, medium, wide, tight, medium, wide. I can move those things around and or having like. I don't want to say like guardrails almost, like these rules when I sit down to
like
edit.
Certain constraints.
Give myself. It could be a lot of times it's a timer.
Yeah.
I'll just do 45 minutes.
Dude, I just did that today.
You
when I
did?
was editing. Yeah.
You did that? See?
Yeah. Well, it's 37 because but yes, I did the same exact thing.
Just give myself all these guardrails and then go.
Yeah.
And just trust that it's going.
45 on, 15 off, or 5 off, or something, right? Just to keep things harnessed a bit.